A to the K.
A to the K.
A to the K. Welcome to another edition of What If.
What if, Carl?
Today we ask the question, what if Sting and The Undertaker did have a match? So it's quite a good time this actually, because we were planning on doing the segments and then The Undertaker himself decided to talk about it on his podcast.
Fuck's sake.
Say fuck's sake, Mark. You Mark.
The dead man's talking.
That's what it should have been called.
Should have been called that.
What's it actually called? Something shit in it. Should have been Dead Man Talking.
So is shit.
Something
It's
shit.
just like talking with Taker or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Anyway, like one dead man show. You know what I mean?
It might be. No, that was his.
That was a stand-up. But like, how shit too. Anyway, he does stand up.
I'd love to see him do stand up.
He actually calls it sit up.
I
Anyway,
feel like his stand up would be bad jokes, and then when people don't laugh, he's just like
stares at them till they do. Yeah. Yeah, that would work. Intimidation tactics.
Yeah.
But we are going to talk about how we would have booked it. So I'll go and take you down what I would have done. You'll take them down what you would have done. And then we'll also be like, what if it happened today? Could it happen today? Where would it happen today? And all that good stuff.
Okay.
Sound like fun?
Sound like fun.
Sound like a way to spend 15, 20 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll go first, shall I?
Okay.
Why not? Right? If I was going to do this, the perfect time, the perfect place.
Keep talking. I kid.
WrestleMania 27,
Okay.
2011.
Okay.
Right? Just after he had defeated Shawn Michaels, not once, but twice,
Okay.
ended the career of the Heartbreak Kid.
Okay.
Okay. Who did he face after that?
Trips.
Triple H again. In Triple H's like fucking ego boost tour of 2011. Right? So, instead of us going, well, oh, you beat my best friend, I bet you can't beat me, and then having like no holds barred.
Well, I don't think it's got what it takes. Sorry.
Who did that? It was
CM Punk.
Was it? Yeah, Punk's is better, to be fair. But
It is. I think yours is a good impression of his impression rather than a good impression of Triple H.
fair. But yeah, we ended up getting Undertaker versus Triple H. It was no holds barred, and they did it again for the trilogy. The year after was Hell in a Cell. Blah 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 blah. What I would have done though, because around this time, 2011, Sting was in TNA, and there was rumor or talk around his contract coming up anyway. This was the same year, around about the same time, where he had that whole Jeff Hardy incident, where Jeff was absolutely off his tits, and basically just that awful match that didn't happen. So it was around about the time where Sting was like,
Yeah, that was an awkward moment.
It was, and Sting was like, maybe I could be going somewhere else around about this time.
Maybe I should be leaving.
And rumour has it, Vince just didn't want to bring him in because he just didn't see any potential in Sting. Whether that's true or not, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But they be the rumours. But that's what I would have done. I would have had, because I think Sting dropped the title to Rob Van Dam before this match with Hardy. At that point, I would have made the offer, said, right, you're not champ anymore, your contract's coming up, we're going to bring you over to WWE. That would have given us like 6 months or so to build until WrestleMania 27.
When you say build, like people know it's Sting or like mysterious vignettes?
Well,
kind of
I'm
build?
going to get there.
Sorry.
I've got me notes here to remind myself what I was thinking. Because after Taker retired Shawn, you think like, oh, well, we didn't see him again then because he's on like a part-time schedule. We didn't see him till the Triple H thing. We actually saw him the rest of that year, and he spent most of it jobbing out to Kane until he lost a casket match, buried alive match with him. It's like, what a great way to use Taker after. He didn't put like a younger talent over or anything like that. He just feuded with Kane for a bit and lost all the time. So it's like, that was shit.
Yeah.
So what I would have done, wouldn't have had any of that stuff happen. Would have signed Sting on the sly. Yeah. Would have kept Taker away for a little bit, give him a little bit of a break, keep him fresh. Just retired Shawn Michaels.
Fresh. Get in the fridge.
Get in the fridge. Keep him fresh. What I would have done is have Undertaker come back around about the Rumble time. So you've got like 4 months to play with before Mania. Yeah. Undertaker comes back and you go with the angle of he's just retired Mr. WrestleMania. He's on a whatever an O streak right now. There's nobody in the entire WWE that can break my streak. Well, Sting's not from WWE, is he? That's where it's like, okay. So He does all that. He's like, no one in WWE can break my streak. Lights go out. Snow begins to fall. Not that that was ever synonymous with Sting before AEW, but I liked it
now. Yeah.
I liked it.
Right? We're stealing the snow.
Yeah. So Snow would have been there, and you just would have saw Sting in the rafters. What?
Al.
Yeah, Al Snow would have been there.
Rip it over.
But I would have had Undertaker say there's no one in WWE you can break the streak.
You got Undertaker
Lights go out. Well, he was at that time. Now he's got his own bloody podcast and his own thing. You know, inspiration for people like us who can't talk.
Yeah.
What was that hilarious joke he did about Matt Morgan?
I can't
remember that. Brutal.
Yeah.
We love you, Matt, but it was brutal.
Sadly, it's documented now, so I can't.
It is documented. You can't take that back. But yeah. So what I would have done, he would have said that no one in WWE that can break the streak. Lights go out, snow begins to fall, and all we see is Sting in the rafters. Cut back to Undertaker. Looks like he's seen a ghost go off the air. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's Sting!" Don't need to say anything. Don't need to get in a scrap.
Just said, "Oh my god."
Not Michael Cole being stupid. Just let the imagery do the talking. Right? That's what I would have done.
Go, don't tell. I like it.
Yeah. Right. So this whole premise is around nobody left in WWE who can beat the streak. What about the outsider? That is Sting, coming over from formerly WCW, now TNA. Someone who's never faced. And I think what we would do, we would have Undertaker start to crack a little bit. So this is Sting getting into the psyche and the mind of the Undertaker, like no one else has done before, playing mind games with him. Maybe he smashes an urn with a baseball bat, stuff like that, Why not? But eventually we do get that face off, middle of the ring, and it's Undertaker who's the one who says that they're going to make it happen, because you can't let Undertaker be a bitch. You know what I mean? Because he's Undertaker. Yeah, so you can't have him be scared.
Yeah,
and go into this.
Tell him he's going to rest in peace.
So we finally have the face off. He's got under his skin this whole time, but Undertaker's not going to back down, and he accepts the match. Yeah, good so far.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'd move on to the match, WrestleMania 27. Obviously, it would be a massive spectacle. I'd like to see Undertaker like rising from a grave or something, and then I'd like to see Sting being lowered from the rafters or something. Not like the Heaven and Hell thing that they did with Shawn, but something. Their own spin on that,
Well, I mean, Sting, they're both synonymous with both of those things, aren't they? So kind of makes sense.
Yeah. But there'll be some kind of epic entrance anyway where Undertaker comes from the dead and Sting comes from the rafters. And then we just get the match, the bell rings, and just don't have anything for a good minute or two because all the fans are just like, holy shit, we're finally going to get this match. The dream match. Yeah.
Lights go out. Both of them disappear.
We don't get it.
No match.
But, right, saying that, the match itself, I still don't know whether it'll live up to the hype. And it's a bold thing to say, right? I think it's one of these matches, these dream matches, that sounds so much better on paper, maybe, than what it would have been. But
dare say it's probably always going to be built up and booked better than it probably would ever be. I think it still had the potential to be a banger, don't get me wrong, but you've just had maybe the best WrestleMania match of all time, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. You do this, people would have built that thing up. Like how you complain about the timing of your own fantasy booking.
Well,
you could have put it before that, Carl.
No, you couldn't, right? This was the right time to do it, right? So, fuck you. So yeah, I do think it would have been an absolute banger, but you've just had the best WrestleMania match of all time. But we've seen what Sting can do at this age now in his AEW run, so it still would have been awesome. And Taker was still pretty much good to go at that point as well. So yeah, I think ultimately Sting would have come close a couple of times. Get the Scorpion Deathlock on him, a few things like that. But ultimately, it might even get a point where Taker sees Sting's baseball bat and thinks, is he going to have to cheat to win? To preserve his streak, and yes, conflicted, but he doesn't, of course, because that would cheapen it. But ultimately, it would come down to a Stinger splash that gets turned into a tombstone, right? And then he kicks out.
Nice.
And like 3 tombstones later, he kicks out, and eventually gets it done. Taker wins. After the match, 2 of them both shake hands, raise each other's arms. We've had it. The spectacle. The match.
They shake hands and they raise each other's arms, so they kind of stood in like some sort of arch.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, okay.
It's like this. Yeah,
cool.
And then they make a love heart, and we go to black. So, I mean, you still could have had Triple H challenge him the following year. The streak is still intact. You still could have had Brock Lesnar on the streak and do what it did for Brock and for the company. And then Sting could have stuck around. You know, maybe he could have fought Triple H. Like, the thing is, WrestleMania 31, him and Triple H, I liked that. So, I mean, Sting should never have lost, let's be honest. The whole NWO versus DX thing and stuff, loved it. Brilliant. Fair. So I wouldn't want stuff like that to go away either. So that stuff could also happen.
You could try to insert him in there.
Yeah, basically. But, you know, you could have dream matches. Like The Rock was apparently wanting to come back around this time as well, and I think he'd always wanted to wrestle Sting, which ironically is part of the reason why Sting chose not to come to WWE, because the way The Rock ran down Booker T in the promo, he was worried that that's what was going to happen to him and his legacy and his character, and was like, nope, fuck that. So, yeah, The Rock kind of... It was his own fault, really. Rocky. Yeah. But yeah, you could have had Sting versus Rock, Sting versus Edge, Orton, Legend Killer thing again. Even believe Daniel Bryan, people like that. So that's what I would have done. That's how I would have booked it. That's 11 minutes of me rambling on. So would that have worked for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything you would, like, obviously you're going to give me yours in a minute, but is there anything about that you think, would you have changed anything?
To be honest, like, the only thing that you said there that I'm like, okay, was the fact that you kind of placed it so that the Triple H stuff could still happen. But I actually think I'm good.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they were good matches. They definitely didn't need a trilogy. Probably didn't even need to face him again.
No.
But, like, I wouldn't have been offended if he did face him again at some point.
I get that. I think it's the right way to go. I think to put it at Mania, you can't. All due respect to Sting, the utmost respect to Sting, especially in the way you've told it, I don't think it would have been right for him to end the streak.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone should have ever ended the streak.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
Yeah.
I mean, now technically nobody ended the streak because we're not allowed to talk about him. Are we allowed to talk about him yet?
I don't know, to be fair.
Okay, we'll just play safe.
Yeah. I mean, I've said his name about 6 times in this whole episode, and we had a whole news story dedicated to him last week. But, and WrestleMania 27, I think that headlined by Miz versus Cena. But then The Rock kind of caused some issues for Cena and stuff like that. So
The Rock causing issues at Mania.
So I don't think there was many kind of like marquee, this is amazing match. Like the marquee match was Triple H and Taker. Whereas, you know, Sting versus Taker would have been even bigger. And Triple H could have done something with some of the other guys, maybe Sheamus, maybe Orton, something like that.
You like Sheamus. Sheamus was like his project, wasn't he?
Exactly. So could have done something there, but
it's a class idea, mate.
Thanks. Now let's hear your harebrained scheme, shall we?
My harebrained scheme, nowhere near as organised as yours in terms of knowing dates and times and all that shit. Right? I fly by the seat of my pants. I'm probably going to say something to people like, "You're wrong, moron."
Yeah.
Or whatever.
That never happens.
But I think Sting could have been what we really, really needed at Invasion time.
Yeah.
Right. So the way I would have panned it out would have been that we introduced the Invasion without Sting.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have your Booker T's and your Scott Steiners and whoever fucking turned up around that time. And it would have been around the time that we were like, WCW were getting a bit of momentum here. You know, they've took people back over to their side. It's getting a bit faction versus faction, you know. And this is all from recollection. I haven't gone back and watched all the fucking history of it. Right?
Why not?
But I don't remember Undertaker's part in the Invasion being that big, really. Do you know what I mean?
He was part of Team WWF, wasn't he?
Yeah, but the focus was kind of on like the will he or won't he with Stone Cold. Can we bring the old Stone Cold back and Kurt Angle? And like the focus wasn't really a big drive on Taker. Taker's obviously a big dude and he was a notable part of the team, but I don't think there was I can't recall a massive story.
No, I think he was more like Brothers of Destruction, when him and Kane.
I mean, technically, you could go, the story during the Invasion time was Diamond Dallas Page and him, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? But what I would have done, because
that was awful to poor Dally, wasn't
it? So what I would have done personally, I would have done this over 2 matches. Right? And I don't know how you feel about 2 matches, and I'll explain that in a sec, because what I would have done was I would have had WCW, at the point that they're dominating, bring in Sting. Right, and we go into a program with Sting taking out Taker as Taker.
American Badass Taker.
Yeah, American Badass Taker. I don't know if it's technically American Badass, the invasion point, but you know, that biker. You know, that
biker Taker.
And essentially I'm going to steal the Kane and him storyline, where Undertaker, well, not in quite the same way, because Kane deliberately tried to bring the old Taker back, whereas I think this is going to be more of a, he can't beat Sting, as himself, because I think ultimately what we would have needed around that time, because I think Sting at that time would have been a massive draw for the invasion. But I personally wouldn't have wanted Sting versus Undertaker, Biker Undertaker.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have had the same mirror. So I thought, well, fuck it, I'll spoil myself and have both. So the way I would try and run it would be...
Yeah, like oh, you get 3 wishes, so I have 3 more wishes. Like...
I've still got 1 wish after this, only on 2. So the way I would have done it would have been that we have 1 match between them. Don't pick a Mania. Like, we're building to a Mania match, but you do like a fucking... What do we have around this time? Fucking Armageddon.
Or even Survivor Series or
even
whatever.
Deliberately pick a WCW named pay-per-view.
Yeah,
you know,
to be fair.
Have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Go for a Halloween Havoc or some shit, right?
Ooh.
But you have Sting win in not a decisive fashion, but you have Sting take the win and Undertaker having the frustration of not being able to beat him. And then the only way to do it is to be the Undertaker again. So I wouldn't have even done it in like a... I'm not too sure how I feel about like he got buried alive and then resurrected as the actual
I was going to ask
Undertaker.
that, like, how does he become the Undertaker again?
Well, I actually, and this may be the bit that you may not like, I would have actually hinted at it up until Mania, but actually only had it revealed as the original Undertaker on his entrance at Mania.
Okay.
So I wouldn't have had it like he's disappeared. What's happened? And he comes back. I would have just had like the frustration, the rematch, the build up to that. You know, back and forth between the two of them. Maybe some hints. You know, maybe like still using like the old trope of like the lights go out when he turns up, but he's not the Undertaker yet. But you know, you get bits like that.
Yeah.
So there's a back and forth between him and Sting over a period of time.
It'd be the end, wouldn't it? The lights go out and then the end's just in the ring. And Sting's like, what does this mean?
Yeah, and you know, I would have gone full like the same way we did with Kane. You bring Paul Bearer back with him and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. And I'd have done that. I'd have had that Mania entrance being that big entrance and taking all the Druids come out. Paul Bearer's out with him. The end there, and then Sting realizes, okay, this is
fucked up.
this is a different Taker.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how I would have sort of planned it to that point. And then obviously Taker takes the win at Mania and keeps the streak intact. And this is the only bit where I wanted to like, because that's how I would have done it, right? In brief, because you know there's whys and wherefores that I probably glossed over a little bit there, but that's roughly how I would have done it. But I would have set it just at 2 matches. Yeah. Now
there's no
decider
blow off,
but I think that's good for both of them, and that's why I would have done it that way.
Yeah.
You know, and then you've always got that debate. That could have been a debate forevermore. Like, yeah, he can't beat Undertaker. Like, he beat the American Badass, but he can't beat Undertaker. And you can, you know what I mean? You can back and forth.
But he did beat Undertaker.
Yeah. So I think it would have made for like a conversation piece forevermore if you do it that way. But I think a lot of people, maybe even yourself, would have maybe gone, well, we need 1 match.
Oh, yeah. Paul Bear's here.
We want final match to like fully decide who the victor is out of the two of them. But I think you could have left it as like a 1-on-1 and gone, you know what, that's where we go.
I like it.
Like, again, mutual respect after the fact, shake hands. Or sorry, I may have gone against that because then you've just brought Taker back as the Fiend, as like the Undertaker. And he's like, good job, pal. So maybe not actually.
That's a good version of Taker I wish we would have had, to be fair. Oh boy, Mickey Mouse Taker. By golly, Sting, you're gonna rest in peace. Dead man walking. Okay. I like it, you know.
I think Sting had to be the Goofy to his Mickey there, you know.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Love it.
Sorry. Anyway, so can we draw that? Can somebody draw that?
Yeah, somebody who's more talented artistically than us, go and make that happen.
So in brief, that's how I would like to run it. I think it could have been a great thing for the Invasion angle, because what we had with Invasion was, and we've talked about this before, was a lack of star power, because a lot of the big names that you associate with WCW just they weren't there at the right time.
And just because someone else will call you out in the comments, I may as well do it now as well. Like, even Scott Steiner wasn't there then.
I know, yeah, somebody probably will call me out, but this is the funny thing. We started getting the star power in after the Invasion angle was done. Yeah. Then you started getting, the NWO is here now.
Yeah.
Where the fuck were they?
Exactly.
And then like Scott Steiner's suddenly here now,
getting paid on a stupid little contract.
But you know what? You can't blame him. You blame fucking Vince at that point. I mean, Vince is getting blamed for a lot of things. This is probably his least egregious act was not paying their contracts in all fairness. But he should have just got his fucking hand in his wallet and sorted this out because that's what the invasion angle needed. Man.
Yeah, it did. But I mean, if they had Sting and they had the whole invasion leading to Sting versus Taker, would have drastically made it worthwhile. And it also meant it would have lasted a lot longer because, as you said, they would have done something at Halloween Havoc and then it would have gone all the way through to WrestleMania.
Exactly.
So it would have still been.
And that's the thing because it didn't. That's where there's bits that I haven't fleshed out there, but like it because they are like pivotal in the whole invasion as a whole.
Yeah.
Like the back and forth didn't have to be just them two. You didn't have to have months of just them two back and forth, and that could have been like involvement of WCW and WWE feuding with each other. Do you know what I mean? So there could have been loads going on there, really, in the way they were trying to build it of a big group versus a big group.
Yeah,
But,
okay, I like that. So, whatever happened today, and the reason I say this, so Marky Mark on his podcast was discussing this past week, I believe, and I think he's sort of alluded to now. Obviously, Sting's retired, whether. He's just had his knees replaced or he's just had some operation or whatever. He's feeling in good shape. Like, could it happen today? What do you think?
I think...
Because it wouldn't be an AEW, would it? Let's be honest. Taker's never going to...
No, it would have to be
all in or something.
WWE.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think like people...
It should be.
people talk shit about Tony Khan, right?
Mm.
And I don't want to start this whole debate, but Tony Khan was the one who was always quite willing to play ball with WWE. Like, maybe less so now because he's become a little bit bitter and a bit thingy.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, he sort of sent Billy Gunn over there for the Hall of Fame because he understood the importance. And I think it'd be another one of them things of going, oh, you understand the importance of this match.
Yeah.
So I don't even think it'd be like, a fuck you to Tony.
No.
To do this because it wouldn't be an AEW. And to be fair, I don't think Sting's in contract with them anymore.
Well, no.
Like,
I think Tony wants to keep him on in some capacity, but Sting's like, I don't know what I would do, what I would add. But
I'll do just be around.
The catering's apparently fucking lovely. So just sit there and eat catering all day and be paid for the pleasure.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm like, even if he had a relationship with AEW that he didn't want to affect, I do think Tony would still understand the importance of that.
Yeah.
As much as he feels aggrieved by WWE at this point.
Yeah.
And I think in the grand scheme, WWE is the one who's been a bit more shitty towards working together.
Yeah, 100%.
You know.
So you think it'd have to happen at WrestleMania, wouldn't it?
Well, you see, there's the thing. It would have to happen in WWE.
But not necessarily Mania.
I don't think necessarily Mania.
Really?
Like, Mania is synonymous with Undertaker's streak. And I don't think it needs, because the streak's ended, I don't think it needs to be about that.
Mm.
Like, I understand the need to put it on the grander stage, but I don't know. I personally would maybe disassociate from Mania because it's all about the streak.
Mm.
But that might be just a bit
something
too wild.
SummerSlammy, or would you do like bring Halloween Havoc to the main roster?
SummerSlam. He's a surfer, for God's sake.
Yeah, I'm not fucking imagine that. We finally get the match, and it's Mark Calloway versus Surfer Sting, and it's like, could you imagine?
Oh, that'd be so funny. Because let's face it, Mark's gonna have his rat tail.
Oh yeah,
he's not gonna be taken.
Would you want it though in today's day and age, or is it one of those things that's just it's past?
Thing is,
and they'll never live up to it, so don't do it.
I'm always willing to have it. I think obviously it's never going to be the match it could have been, right? But do you remember when like Undertaker's looked a bit pained in a couple of matches, and you're like, he had issues and probably shouldn't have been in those matches because he was sore. But then do you remember that time he come out and he just fucking battered John Cena, and you're like, actually, he's not looking bad, you know.
Yeah.
Like he's looking all right there. He's just embarrassed John Cena. That was like fucking 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Damn. Right. Yeah. So maybe like he obviously can still go, and if he's saying like, I'm feeling good, I've had my knees replaced and my hips replaced and all that, he's mostly robot at this point. Maybe I think they could have a good match. I just don't think it would ever be the match it would have been when they were. I think it's fair to say they can't have the match they could have had in the prime.
The boat has been missed on like the match, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But there's still money to be made. I would draw money.
I would still be there for that match. The sad fact is WWE would probably go, well, Saudi. We'll make money out of Saudi. They're like legends. But I do think if they were both willing, I think the match could still happen, and at least we get some match between them rather than no match at all. And I'm totally down for that.
Yeah, it feels like too big of a what if to never have it. If there's an opportunity to have it, make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Make
it rain.
Make it rain or snow. In my case,
it doesn't have to be snow. You put some dollar bills in that snow, and he's
to be fair.
Probably on board.
What kind of snow are we talking? So yeah, they were our.
Was that Tony Khan's entrance? Sorry,
maybe. No, yeah, I'm just curious. What do you think? Whose what if scenario did you like better? Obviously mine. But if it was Anthony's, then don't bother leaving a comment. But if it was mine, let me know.
Continue to shrink.
Boost my ego. And would you want to see Sting versus Undertaker in 2024 or 2025? Let us know.
I like that I'm just ahead.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, I'll definitely be there. And then like, you're disappearing from here, so let alone anywhere else. So yeah, do the usual. Like, comment, subscribe, let us know, and we'll catch you. Come back on the next one.
Bye.